All right, we are live on the Las Vegas Triathlon Club Facebook page, and we're recording. I'm John Mercer, president of Las Vegas Tri Club. Got Bob Gamble, board
Hey,
member of the
folks.
Tri Club. Hey, Bob, how's it going? And
Oh, it's wonderful. Met up with the Navy buddy here this afternoon. Haven't talked to him in 42 years. And we had such a good time catching up.
that's great.
Wow.
That's fun to do that. So, and now we're going to have fun catching up with one of our members.
Yep.
And I am delighted to have Kathy May on this call. Kathy has been a longtime member and a longtime, a racer and triathlete. And it's going to be fun to get to know her story and for her to share a bit of her story with everyone. But before we get started, I'm going to turn it over to Bob for the official introduction.
As John said, we are very lucky to have Kathy May with us tonight. And this is going to be a lot of fun. Kathy is, in addition to being a stellar triathlete, and she won't admit this, but she is an accomplished realtor. And we're not going to talk too much about her son, Joey. We're going to try to keep it off of him and on her. Joey McCauley. Kathy is the mentor and the mom of a star uprising hockey player, as well as a stellar triathlete. And in addition, Kathy, you've got a 3-year-old, a Harvey, who's also running around the house tonight.
Yes, you may see him occasionally running in here. He may not be talking about triathlon, more dinosaurs.
Well, I got to jump in. I think I've already discovered Kathy's secret to success is, in the 15 minutes we're prepping for this, she's been up and down running, chasing after kids, getting things all set. So she's getting some exercise in, just taking care of everything.
That's how I do it.
Kathy's done the equivalent of like a dozen burpees, right? Was we were walking. She jumps up, runs into the next room, comes back, sits down, jumps up, runs into the next room.
You just gave away my secret.
But anyway, we're going to talk about Kathy tonight. Kathy has done triathlons from sprint, Olympic, and over, you say, about a dozen half Ironman.
Yeah, really, more than that. Well, yeah, about 10 actually. So yeah.
And we're going to try to convince Kathy that she is capable of doing an Ironman. And one of the reasons for that, everybody knows that Kathy. There's a picture of Kathy when she finished one of her your 70.3s, and it looks like you were getting ready to start or either go into a photo shoot or something. You looked like you were in perfect shape. You weren't even out of breath or anything like that. So I think you're ready to do a full Ironman. But
I don't
so
know.
let's get started.
Of course, though, I will say that, but I just pull it together well. That's the secret. You know what I mean?
Okay. So how's it going today? How are you doing today?
Good. I mean, training is, not what it used to be. It's been hard for most people, and especially having a little one in the house. But I've just been doing the best I can. I have a treadmill in my garage who's been my best friend, and that's helped, especially when it first was the lockdown. I think that was the hardest part. Now gyms are open again, and I have more, just more time and ability with bringing my little one with me, places. So. But I've been very fortunate that I've been doing like a lot of home videos and doing Pilates and like other stuff, to keep me.
Well, you beat me to it. I was going to ask you, how are you staying in triathlon shape with all the stuff that you're working on? You say you're doing some home video workouts?
Yeah, I've been really fortunate through Lifetime that they've supplied me with a lot of like workout videos that have helped me just stay fit during quarantine. You know what I mean? When I couldn't get out maybe and ride my bike because I had my little one with me. And then nowadays, to be honest, I ride a couple times a week outside, and I've really been getting into mountain biking, which was kind of where I first started all this anyways. I started on a mountain bike way back in the day. So that's the first bike I ever owned, and it's been kind of like my one thing that I just love so much.
Now,
so I've been doing that too.
You're originally from Canada, right?
Yeah, Vancouver, British Columbia. Yep.
And is that where you started mountain biking or down here?
No, actually, to be honest with you, so Joey, who's my ex-husband and also Junior's father, he actually got me started in mountain biking. He had been in it a little bit and then got me into it. And it was just one of those things that just clicked for me, and I just loved it.
Like, hey, I like this. This is fun.
Yeah, and so he's like, you need to enter a race. I mean, I'd only been maybe 3 times, and he already had me on clip pedals, right? And I'm like, I don't know if I can do clips. He's like, oh yeah, you're fine, no problem. And he entered me in a race, and I think I took like third, and I was so happy. And I was like, I love mountain biking. That's how I basically started all this. Yeah.
Oh, that's
You
awesome.
love mountain biking and you love racing.
That's what I'm really competitive, but I think I also just really enjoy it too. Like, you know what I mean? And lately I don't take myself so seriously. I'm not so hard on myself, but back when I was younger, boy, I was really competitive, and I would just always just go out and I wanted number one, you know what I mean? And with mountain biking, it's such a cool sport because everyone is just so friendly. When they're done, everyone just sits on the tailgate, has beers, and it's just like a really good group of people. You know what I mean? Kind of like what we ended up finding out as we got into triathlon community. You know, one of the main
Mhm.
reasons why I always keep coming and all, I just love the people so much. You know,
And
made like amazing.
everybody who finishes a mountain bike ride or a triathlon, and it's a sense of accomplishment, everybody sits down and goes, ah, that felt great.
Yes,
Yep.
I
And
did
that's
it.
the group.
You know, that feeling. You know what I mean? So.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I want to hear a little bit more about your sport background. I've seen the competitor in you. I have seen that, and it's you are a fierce competitor, and what in a healthy way. But
Yeah.
I want to hear more of your sport background. What were you doing even before mountain biking?
So to be honest, really not a whole lot. I came to Vegas, I was 21. So I came to Vegas sort of for a different reason. I was looking to have some beers on the strip, and you know what I mean? I really wasn't honestly doing much. And then I actually met Joey, and that's how it started. I got into mountain biking, and it was like, oh my gosh, I love this. That took off for me, and I started racing and doing all of that. When I was in high school and stuff, I will say I did like play volleyball and
Hmm.
basketball. I always found some kind of like little, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But I really wasn't really through college and stuff. I didn't really do any type of sport. So it was later on in my life, and actually even real later, that I got into triathlon. And the
Hmm.
first time I ever really learned how to swim, I think I was 32 years old.
Oh,
I
wow.
was going to ask you that.
I
Saying,
was just
it's like,
doggy paddling. That's the only thing I knew, or maybe even I don't even know how to even backstroke, but whatever. I just float on my back, and I had no idea how to swim. So when someone, so from mountain biking, I went to road racing. Someone said, "Hey, you guys might like triathlon." Went into triathlon, and I said, "But I don't know how to swim." I said, "Well, don't worry. That's the smallest portion of the event." But little did I know.
yeah, but it's pretty important for heaven's sake.
Yeah, it's kind of a big part of it, and still for me, is that's my one struggle. If I'm being honest, is the swim. It always has been, because I don't put as much time in the water as other things. Because I love to cycle. I'm a cyclist, so that's where
Mhm.
I put in a lot of my time. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's kind of my background with the sports. Not too much there until I started mountain biking, and I was about 23, I want to say, and I'm
That's great.
43 now.
So do you remember your first triathlon?
I do actually, and it was the Las Vegas Triathlon,
Oh,
and I actually took third. And I was in my age group. I won't say overall, but in my age group, and I was really happy with that. I was like, oh my gosh, because I didn't really know how to swim, and I wasn't a very good runner, but coming from the cycling background, it kind of pulled me through.
yeah.
I think enough to, and so
Mhm.
then after that, I was hooked, like
Mhm.
hooked. I
Oh
loved
yeah,
it.
you stand on the podium and it's like, oh, I'm going to do this again.
And the problem with that though is then you always want to get on the
Yeah.
podium. You know, that's the competitiveness in you, and you're like, okay, well, that was the first time, and then you strive for more. Then you want the overall. Then you know what I mean? But that's just the fun of it too. I think is just trying to push yourself to like the next level. You know?
That's
Yeah.
great. So going from where you're just mountain biking and racing just on the bike to adding the swim in front and the run after, I mean, how did that all go? And you said you loved it. Did you know right after you finished that you were signing up for another one?
Oh yeah, I think I did that day. In fact,
No.
it was like, well, the swim, I was one of the last ones out of the water. I'm going to be honest. In my age group, I struggled. You know what I mean? And but I don't have a fear of like the open water. To be honest with you, I don't mind the open water. I like. I'm certified to like dive and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I
Oh,
enjoy
that
like
helps.
yeah. So I'm not really scared of it necessarily to go out a ways, but I'm just not a good swimmer. You know, and starting super like older, I guess I should say, and just not putting enough time in. But yeah, I felt that because I was one of the last ones to get out of the water, and I was like, oh, this sucks.
Oh,
Then I got on the bike and I started just going, and I started kind of passing people, and I'm like, oh wait, okay, wait, I think I got a shot at this.
oh.
And then toward the end, I was like, oh, this is cool. I kind of, and then it was just about getting better at that point. I just wanted to
First,
the next one be better.
the first time you got off the bike and started running, what'd that feel like?
I couldn't feel my legs. I was like, what's happening? It takes a few minutes to like warm up. And at first I was worried. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And then it was very short into it that's the mental thing. You realize, oh, wait, okay, we're going to be okay here. They're coming around. You know what I'm saying? It's just getting them kind of warmed up and used to what's going on, I guess you should say. So
Yeah, that initial shock is kind of fun.
oh, they feel heavy and you're like, what happened to my legs? Like, yeah. So, but yeah, after the first one, I knew for sure. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so hooked on this. I love this. Yeah.
So when did you switch to Olympic? When did you sign up? When did you do your first Olympic?
Well, let me refer to this is some of them. I think I have the Olympic one.
Let me look at my medals here.
Well, this is just like, my son did this for me. It's very nice. He surprised me and did this for me. I can't remember. I think it was about a year or two, I want to say, after my first one that I thought, okay, I'm going to do the Olympic distance. But it was tough on me. Like, I'll be honest. I was like, oh, this hurts. So I kind of went back to sprints because I wanted to race it like a sprint, but it's a longer distance. You have to just, do you know what I mean? And I didn't race it like that. I raced it like I was doing a sprint. So when I got onto the run, I was like dying, So I took some time away from that and then did more sprints. And then I actually came back, did another Olympic, and I did amazing at it. So I just had to just
Pace
learn
yourself,
how to
yeah.
go longer. You know what I mean? And then from there, that's when I started doing the 70.3s. After I did really well at an Olympic, I think I took an overall at one of the races, and I was like, okay, now I'm going to try the 70.3.
You took an overall at one of your Olympics?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, good
I don't
grief.
remember which one it was now. I want to say probably Las Vegas Triathlon, I think it was.
Oh.
I'm a big fan of BBSC races. I race all of them all the time, as well as all the club races. But so I do all of theirs every time. In shape or not in shape, I still show up to see if I can do something out there.
Well,
While you're on that,
that's such a great,
go ahead.
such a great approach is that, because you've been racing for a long time. I mean, there are going to be times where you're just not in your peak fitness, but yet you still come out, and you've been a great supporter of the Tri Club. And it's been wonderful having you be part of all those races. So so I want to hear about your first 70.3.
Yeah, I really want them to stick around, and if we don't give them support, then eventually they're not going to be here anymore, and then I'm going to be so bummed that I can't race in my backyard. You know what I mean?
It's wonderful here.
Yeah.
So
BBC is great. Are you signed up for any 2021 BBSC races?
Rage, and I'm praying that we're going to have the opportunity to do it. I know so many have been canceled, but I'm not in shape enough to do it yet, but I'm working on it. Slowly.
Which one? Sprint or
I'm just going for a
Olympic?
sprint until maybe I get my race body back a little, like I said, I've been doing a lot more mountain biking, so I'm also looking to get into some mountain bike racing this year too. I'm thinking of going up to Utah. They have some mountain bike races, so I'd like to do that a little on the offside. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's great. Well, we
Yeah.
have some wonderful places to go mountain biking, even here around Las Vegas. It's really, really fantastic.
No, we're so lucky, and it's like year round pretty much for us,
Well,
And the duathlon I missed because that was one of my favorites that the Tri Club would put on that I would always do was the duathlon, the mountain bike duathlon.
I know.
Oh, no, that was fun. The one out in the late night trailhead.
I was just there today. I did that, and I remembered coming up and thinking, oh man, I missed that race so much. It was one of my favorites.
I love that circuit. I love that loop.
Yeah.
I think I like it so much because there's no swim also.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm trying to get into your 70.3. What was your first 70.3, and what even encouraged you to go in that direction?
Well, like I said, I did well in one of the Olympics, but I thought it was time. So I did the first one that I ever did, I believe, was in Hawaii, which I'm a huge fan of that one. If you've never done it, Hawaii is absolutely stunningly beautiful. But I wasn't quite prepared. I was vacationing like 5 days before there, kind of, drinking pina coladas on the beach. And then I tried to do a 70.3 and was like, woof, I got my butt handed to me.
Uh-huh.
I still did okay, but relatively speaking, but it was beautiful and the heat kind of got to me. I forgot that Hawaii, in the middle of the afternoon when you're running is pretty intense, but I would still recommend it. And I actually went on to do that one about, I want to say 6 more times.
Wow.
That particular race. Yeah. And
And
then
so,
I've done, else did I do? I've done Florida. I've done Washington. And then Arizona, which I'm
Yep.
sure you want to ask me about that one. Cause
Have you done any of the Palm Springs 70.3s, the hits, or the the Ironman Palm Springs?
No, I did Oceanside, which is also one race that I would totally recommend. I love that race. Yeah, I did the 70.3 in Oceanside. That was awesome. And the bike, I really enjoyed the bike ride on that one too. That was really, and the run even was awesome,
yeah, Oceanside, you always got to break going down that hill.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. But the run was nice for, it was kind of along the water a little bit. It wasn't too many hills. And so I really enjoyed it. I did well at that race, I remember, and I had a really good time. So
This is so neat to see. You're so versatile across all these distances from sprint, Olympic, and half. So where do you find yourself drawn to? Which distance?
Honestly, I love sprints. I really do.
Yeah.
I love sprints because with my busy life, and I know we're all busy, but I feel like no matter what, I can just get out there. I can have a great time. I don't have to train so hard and be too hard on myself. It's an hour and whatever, 20 minutes of exercise or however long it's going to take me. I run out, I do it, and I always feel so good when I'm done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I could do those like all the time, and it's not so much wear and tear on my body and the amount of training. Because as I got further into the 70.3s, I started realizing I need to hire a coach. I need to get some help because I'm not getting it. I'm not getting the nutrition end of it. You know what I'm saying? And then you go through the numbers, and I got a power meter, and I got a watch on all the time. And with sprints, I don't do any of that. I just go, I have fun. My
You
watch
smile
is on.
the whole time.
That's
Yep,
it.
when you're doing. Yep.
No watch, no nothing. I barely even need anything. It's just, I'm just there, and I love that.
There's a good lesson there, John. You know that. It's like we're doing these triathlons for fun, and the sprint is if you just go out and have fun, you're gonna have it's gonna be a good day.
It's going to be a good day. And a lot of times I would go do a sprint. So I've worked a lot as a bartender at the pools and stuff. So a lot of times I would have to do a race and go straight to work, and you could do that with a sprint triathlon, and you still feel good about yourself. You're like, okay, I competed today. I showed up, I did well. And then I went to work right after, you know what I mean? So with those longer distances, that would be hard because I find myself like on the couch in the Normatec boots, like eating everything that I can find.
Well, and I love how you talk about the sprints because a lot of times people, they may say, "Oh, I did just a sprint," and it's like that's a legit race, and it is such, you do feel so good afterwards, and it's a real true test of your fitness because you don't need anything else. You don't need a lot of nutrition. You don't need a lot of water even. You just need to go, and so
just need to go, and it's so fun for me, and that's why I really enjoy that. So I will do many more sprints. I'm not saying I'll never do a bigger one, but so far I have not done a full Ironman. That will be my next one to conquer, I think.
Well, but what I think what you're really speaking to, and a lot of people have this, is you've got a busy schedule, not only as a mother, but with work. And, we do need to figure out how to balance, our fitness and our training. And so that is a really great message to give out that, hey, do the sprints, focus on them because you can fit the training into a busy schedule.
Yeah. And honestly, and have fun with yourself. Don't take it too serious. I know it's hard because I've been there, done that. But at the end of the day, like if I go out and do a sprint now, I'm always happy at the end. Always. Yeah. I'm like, I did something today that I feel good about. So I'm good,
That's
so,
great. So now that you've been racing since what year was your first one?
I can't remember. Maybe 2010. I want to say something like that.
Oh wow! So you've been racing for a decade, just over, and so looking back now, and I'm sure that you talk with new triathletes. What advice do you give people getting into the sport?
Well, okay. So like I said before, always have fun with it. Because if you
Yep.
stop having
Mhm.
fun, there's no point. You know what I mean? Maybe don't take yourself too seriously. But on another lesson, always make sure you have your stuff with you when you go to a race. Besides your bike, of course. Because
Uh-oh.
I've literally showed up with just my bike on my bike rack and opened up everything else and been like, oh my God, no shoes, helmet, no wetsuit, no goggles, no nothing. And I literally borrowed this was at the Tri Club race actually, right?
Yeah.
So everyone pulled together and gave me everything that I needed to actually. So I wore like a size 10 men's shoes. I
Yeah.
had like some, I don't know, random helmet, like everything, just so I could like at least participate. And I did. And it was just like, I'm so thankful that like I have all these people that were willing to like pull out anything they could to help me get through it, you know?
Oh, what a great story. Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, it's neat to be able to say, one, you're a competitive person and you do really well in these races, but to then toe the start line with all different equipment,
I know.
you just
Mhm.
broke the rule on, you know.
So
So
since
Mhm.
that's
then, I
great.
have left everything in my car. I have a backpack that I have everything. It never leaves my car for that reason. I have a helmet, I have a wetsuit, and my son's always like, "Mom, clean out the back of your car." I'm like, "Nope, because I've
Nope,
done that before.
that's staying
That's
there.
staying there, literally, because I know me. I'm a very forgetful person, so I'm like, I need that there for me just to have for the safety."
Oh,
Yeah,
I
so
love that.
that's probably what I would say for the up and coming triathletes. Just make sure you have your equipment. That's a really good start to a race.
Well, I mean, you travel a lot too to races. Like you said, you've gone to Hawaii and Washington, and so you've got to you probably need to plan that out a little bit too.
Yeah.
And that's good to. Do you work with lists when you go on trips like that, or?
I don't. I'm not like a list kind of person. It probably really helps, and I wish I was, but it's kind of like all up here, I have like a checklist, a mental checklist, and yeah, I've been really fortunate. Most of the times, I show up and I have everything. Sometimes, like that one time, not one thing, but I still made it work. That's because of all of our great people in the Tri Club, and that's the reason.
Oh, well,
Isn't
Because
that,
that
we're all
isn't that
friends.
cool
We all want
about
each
the
other.
club?
What's that?
I said, isn't that cool about the club? Everybody wants to help. It's like that's almost the biggest driver of everyone in the club is what can I do for you? It's just that just makes it so wonderful.
Totally. And everybody wants everyone to do well. You know what
That's
I
right.
mean? It's like, oh my God, you did awesome today. That's great. Like nobody's like, oh, it's just so like it's a good vibe feeling group. You know what I mean? And I don't know, are you guys still doing the swims out there? Because that was another thing that helped me too, is doing those group swims when you used to have
We
them. I know.
we will be doing them again this summer for sure.
Yeah.
As long as we're permitted and we're allowed to, we'll be out there.
Well, good. Yeah.
water's a little cold right now, but we're getting close to being able to go down there. So
No,
Yeah.
yeah, we're close, but it's still. I've been watching the temperature. It's still 54 degrees. The water
Yeah.
temp.
that's
Oh,
I have a 60-degree cutoff. I'm on old fart. I'm not going to get in there in 55-degree water. I'm sorry.
even being from Canada, I probably still wouldn't want to get in when it's that cold. So I
Yeah.
totally understand.
all right. So you've done a lot of sprints. You like the sprints. You've done some halves and been successful in the whole range of distances. I'm curious, what is your most proudest moment besides completing a race with all borrowed equipment?
So my proudest moment. So I was gonna race the Tempe 70.3, and I really wanted to break 6 hours. So this is also my proudest moment and also my biggest like no moment. But so I had it in my head that if I broke 6 hours, I was gonna finally do a full. So I signed up for Tempe. I trained really hard. I just did everything I think I could do that day to bring it. And I raced it and I went through the finish line. I stopped my watch and it was like 5:59, and I was like cheering and I was so happy and I had all my friends there and everyone was like, and then one of my friends came around, actually Justin Newbeck. I think you guys know him
Yep,
because
yep.
he's great. And he's like, you're not gonna want to look at the time. And I'm like, why? And he's like, 6 flat with a second. So I
Oh,
had, so
Six.
I was like, but it still was my most proudest moment because it's the best time I've ever done in a half. and in
Yeah.
a 70.3. I trained really hard for it. I hit all the right moments that I was supposed to. So even though I was like bummed that it didn't, and that's just more of a mental thing that we do to each other. We
Yeah.
just, we have it in our head and we want to break a time. But yeah, that was probably one of my most proudest moments.
Oh,
And
that's
then the
great.
other is watching my son kick ass at all the races.
Yeah.
That's-
I love
and
it.
now kicking my butt at all the races too. Mind you.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well,
Actually, your son gave me one of my proudest moments as far as when I was I had a shoulder surgery and I was taking pictures instead of racing. And I got the best picture of Joey Jr. coming down the hill doing a dismount, standing on one pedal. You remember that? Yeah, it's like, so yeah, I can see where you're proud of that. He's
Like, he can do the
bringing a
front
lot
and
of people.
I still can't do that after all these years, and I don't even attempt it. I'm like, it's fine. I'm just gonna run, and it's fine. Yeah, he's just,
Yeah, I'll stop and get off.
yeah, I'll stop and get off. I don't want to break anything here. He's just little. He just zooms right off. Yeah. But
well,
one day you'll have to have him on the spotlight, and he can tell the story
oh,
himself.
totally. We will. We will.
We will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, really a big shout out to you for getting to 6 hours in some change. And that's so cool when everything comes together and you hit that race like that. So that is a wonderful feeling. All right. So again, you do all the local races for sure, and you travel to races. I'm curious as to what is one race that, I don't know, I guess I'll say, what's your favorite race, but maybe one that you always look forward to more so than others.
Probably Pumpkin Man, if I'm being
Mm,
honest. I love Pumpkin Man. I
You like
to climb.
climbing?
Yeah, I do. I love to climb,
that's the
and
biker in you.
that's the biker, exactly. So I feel like that's like a little bit of my stronger point. So yeah, probably Pumpkin Man is my one of my favorites. And of course all the tri club races, which I love. And
Oh,
I know that course like the back of my hand. So it just, you feel like you're at home, right? Racing it. It's
mhm,
just so fun,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Pumpkin Man's such a great way to end their season for the most part. I know sometimes we have races after that, but it's such a wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful venue. And yeah, that's a killer bike ride. But you're right, that's your strength. I mean, you've got such a strong bike ride. And
And I like the two transitions. A lot of people don't like it, but it feels so like it almost feels like I'm doing a half or something. You know what I mean? Where you have to set up numerous transitions. I like that. I like that the end is like in the park. It's just got a really cool vibe to it. I love it. So yeah.
It's a big thing. It's not just a local, it just seems like a big race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of college kids that race that race, and it seems always like you're right, big.
Yep.
And there's kind of like that get together, everyone like hangs out after. I enjoy that very much. Yeah.
Mhm.
Probably one of my favorites.
So
Yeah.
we're all hoping 2021 is the year that we reboot triathlon. And I know you said you've got Rage on the calendar, and
Yeah.
we're all got our fingers crossed, and we're watching the news for that. What other races are you looking forward to in 2021?
I haven't honestly signed up for a lot, only because I'm a little worried that they're getting canceled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope not. I want to stay optimistic and hope that they do. But until I know for sure, I'm kind of waiting to sign up, with the only exception with Rage. I signed up for the like a 5K for St. Patty's Day run, just little things right now. And then
Sure.
once I feel like we're going back to full mode, I would definitely race Hawaii if I knew that it was going to be going on in June, because that's just my favorite of all. And I'd love to get over there, but it's so tricky to know where the world will be and what will be going on,
Yeah. Well,
Kathy, I have a question for you as far as indoor. Do you do indoor training on your bike?
I do. I do. So I also work at Lifetime Fitness, and honestly, their spin classes, their spin instructors are amazing. Danny Cam, Rollins, they're two of literally the best. I love their classes. So I do those maybe 2-3 times a week.
Oh, wow.
So it gives
And
me.
the reason I ask is you can do, I've done, the Hawaii Ironman course, the 70.3 is on Ruby, and you can jump on there and do it all the time if you want.
Yeah.
It
So
is a pretty course.
I sold my Zwift during some hard times there, which I wish I could get it back now that things are getting better. I'm making more money, but I miss that. My kicker was my Wahoo kicker, and all. I had to get rid of it at the time. That thing was amazing though, and I used to use that all the time, like amazing. But I also do the outdoor group cycle class at Lifetime. I kind of a fill-in over there, and you don't have to be a member of Lifetime to do that. So that's just throwing it out there. If anyone wants to cycle in a group, like that's a great place to go. And we do that on Sundays, and it leaves at like 8 a.m. and it's a really cool ride.
No, and you're saying you can just show up. You don't need to be a member.
Yep. You don't have to be a member. So
Good
for
to know.
anyone looking for a group ride, it's in Henderson. So it's the Henderson Lifetime, and there's more information if you go online. It's a really good thing. Yeah.
Well, in terms of looking forward to 2021, what I really like about what you're doing is you're adapting, and you're taking on some more mountain biking, and the chances of doing mountain biking races, I think, is probably a little better because of the way that you can space people out, and it's a little different. So I think that's fantastic. But that's the parent in you too. I mean, you're just always adapting and trying to get things, get through every day. It's a little, this is such a tough time, but
it is. But I feel like, hopefully for most everyone too, but for myself, like I'm just kind of coming out of it. Like, I think it's going in the right direction. You know what I mean? We're starting to see things more, opening up more things and more races. I heard they're opening up like contact sports for kids now. Great. I think that's so important. So I think hopefully, we're rolling in the right direction.
I think we got our fingers crossed, and like I said, hopefully this is our reboot year for triathlon. So I think
Going to be a breakout year. Yep. I believe it.
Yeah.
So I said we'd keep you for 15 to 30 minutes, and you said, "Oh, I don't know if we're going to make it that long because you're going to have to run off with, taking care of being mom." But we're already over 30 minutes. So this
it went by so fast. I know. I hear the little one up there. He's like, Mom, but he's doing good so far. So, but thank you for having me. I absolutely loved it. Sorry it took a few weeks to coordinate. We all are going busy here.
This is fantastic to have you on and to hear your story.
A lot of fun. Thank you.
And it is really, you've been such a big member of the endurance community here. And so it's really been wonderful spending some time talking with you.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
No, and it's really good having you on because other people see the kind of fun that you have with the races, and it helps them to come out too and want to enjoy it like you do. So it's really wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. And I hope to meet everyone soon at the next race, hopefully.
All right. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you guys.